Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. In the upcoming 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears have a huge decision to make. They have to decide who their franchise guy is. Just a couple years ago, they took a chance, drafted rookie quarterback Justin Fields, a guy who looked good all through his collegiate and high school careers. The Chicago Bears picked him up, and now just a few years later, they're still at the #1 pick, and they're thinking about taking another quarterback. Now, this isn't their own fault. They traded their first overall pick last year to acquire DJ Moore and this pick here and some other things. But that led them to getting Carolina's pick, which is now the #1 overall pick. An opportunity to draft a generational prospect, some say. One of the best prospects in recent history, at least since Trevor Lawrence, in Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has put up great numbers at USC and is said to be the guy by many draft experts, by NFL scouts and GMs. He's undoubtedly the #1 overall pick. So now the Chicago Bears, who currently hold the #1 and the #9 overall draft pick, have to decide whether to trade and build their team around Justin Fields or pick up Caleb Williams and trade Justin Fields. Those are the two options. So today and when I mean we, I mean the Chicago Bears, but I'm stepping in. I'm playing GM today, and I'm going to make a decision, and my reasoning may surprise you, so stay tuned. But first, we have to talk about what kind of career these guys have had so far. Justin Fields, we know what he has. We know what he's been for the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears went a disappointing 7-11 this year in the NFL, and you know what? It wasn't pretty, but they definitely picked it up there at the end, winning 4 of their last 6 games. And that very end game against the Green Bay Packers, the Packers were just the hottest team in football. There wasn't much Justin Fields or the defense of the Chicago Bears could do because that team was just so hot, and they went on to prove it the following week by beating the 2-seeded Dallas Cowboys in the first round of the NFL playoffs. As the starter, Justin Fields went 5-8, and in the games he got majority of the snap, it was 5-7, and they went 2-2 without him, which is obviously a much better win percentage. So now you're thinking, oh yeah, if Tyson Bagnet can win with the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams certainly can. But let's not count this out. All right, their 2 wins that they got without Justin Fields were against the Carolina Panthers, who, need I remind you, are the reason why the Chicago Bears are the #1 overall pick. And it was a barely beating the Carolina Panthers. And it was also against the Raiders, who hadn't been inspired by Coach Antonio Pierce yet. So it weren't very good wins. Justin Fields was the reason that they went 4-2 at the end of the season. He started throwing the ball really well, but on the season, his stats weren't great. He was a 61.5% completion rate. He was only 2,500 yards, 650 rushing, 20 total touchdowns, 16 in the air, 4 on the ground. And all of these, if you take it and you combine it into totals, it puts him at about the 20th to 22 range. We do have to keep in mind that he was only played in 13 games, and one of those games also he didn't take very many snaps because he got injured. It's still not very impressive. Even his passing yards per game was about the 20th range in the NFL. So it just wasn't great all around from Justin Fields. But is it completely Justin Fields' fault? I don't think so. I mean, he had a lack of weapons. He had DJ Moore and maybe a Cole Kmet you can kind of count, but the running game was weak most of the year. The offensive line was pretty terrible, and the defense wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't the worst part, but it still wasn't great. Okay, a lot of missed tackles on that side of the field. So is Caleb Williams the answer, or is trading to bolster that roster the answer? Well, let's take a look at Caleb Williams, what he did at USC. Obviously, he had a phenomenal junior season, easily winning the Heisman Trophy and doing it in dominant fashion, putting up 4,500 yards on a 66% completion rate with 42 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. What an insane ratio. Caleb Williams also ran for some yards. We know what he can do with his legs, though it's not as dominant as what Justin Fields can do. He still has that capability. Caleb's senior season took a dip a little bit. They lost a lot more games. 3,600 yards compared to the 4,500 yards, 30 touchdowns to 42, and the 5 interceptions stayed the same. His completion percentage did go up 2.5%, up to a 68.5%, and he also did all this on a 120 less passing attempts. Obviously, he's a generational talent. He has a great arm. He's mobile. He's a very good improviser. He had to be because he got sacked over 70 times at USC. 70 times. Caleb Williams never made the college football playoffs, something that Justin Fields did do at Ohio State, and it wasn't necessarily his fault either. Let's look at his roster. He also had a horrendous, much worse offensive line. He lacked playmakers at times, and the defense was terrible. Straight up terrible. Caleb Williams is not the reason they lost so many football games. he would get in shootouts each and every week, and the defense couldn't do their part. It was horrible to watch, and then Caleb Williams would take a sack here and there, and it just, it was too much for Caleb Williams. That's why he never made the playoffs. That's why neither of these quarterbacks really have translated into wins. So our options, we have to look back. Do we trade Caleb Williams and build that roster and then worry about a quarterback down the line? Or maybe Justin Fields can win with a decent roster? Or do we trade Justin Fields, go with who I think is definitely the better quarterback in Caleb Williams, as do most people, as does pretty much everybody except Justin Fields and his mother probably. But one thing we do have to look at is each of their trade value. Caleb Williams' trade value is insane. I don't think I've ever seen a higher trade value in a number 1 overall pick, at least in my recent mind. All right, maybe there is. You can remind me if I'm wrong, but this pick could go for crazy amounts. Here's one pick I have where they could trade it to the Bills for Stephon Diggs, Mitch Morse, maybe even throw in a Micah Hyde or a Jordan Poyer, and pick up a first round, a second round, a third round, and probably some picks next year as well. I don't know why the Bills would necessarily do this trade, but I'm saying the options are there. Teams that definitely would do this trade, if they have the assets, maybe a Washington Commanders, where the Bears could pick up a Jonathan Allen to pair him with Montez Sweat. They'd get 2 buddies there. They could pick up a Scary Terry, a McLaurin in return. They could pick up their first round pick this year, which is a 3rd overall, and still get like a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May if they so choose. Or what I like better is picking up Scary Terry, Jonathan Allen, Marvin Harrison Jr., a first pick next year, a second round, both of these this year and next year, and probably something else as well. I mean, this trade could be crazy for them. They could do something similar with the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe picking up a Tyler Algier with an AJ Terrell, maybe with a first round pick this year and next year, and you get it. The Denver Broncos might make this trade. The New England Patriots might make this trade. The I already said the Broncos. The Steelers might make this trade. I mean, there's so many different options that they could go. There's a lot of talent, a lot of teams that need a quarterback and are willing to trade for Caleb Williams. The New York Giants being one of them. Maybe you do pick up a Kayvon Thibodeau and multiple draft picks like was thrown around the internet. I mean, I don't know, but I think the trade value there is insane. Justin Fields, on the other hand, his trade value is very minimal. I think you get a high second round pick at best. That's just not really going to build your roster up now, is it? You do have the number 9 overall pick as well, where you can get maybe a Romeo Dunze, but I am stepping in. The GM of the Chicago Bears. This is my turn. This is my decision. What am I going to do? And what is my reasoning? With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears trade the pick. We trade the pick to a Commanders for that package I mentioned. We traded that pick to the Steelers for, some elite defenders. I don't know. I'm sure that bidding war is insane. Maybe it's just me loving trades in the NFL, but I would love to field all these calls and get every team in a bidding war for this number 1 overall pick. I'm going to be the beneficiary of this bidding war. Okay, the Chicago Bears need to build around the quarterback position. I do think Caleb Williams is a better quarterback and a better option at quarterback, even as a rookie for the Chicago Bears. But I want to build an environment that the quarterback can succeed in before I bring in a new guy. And maybe I give Justin Fields a chance because he did play really good at the end of the season. And I think he's going to have an even better season this year. So for that reason, I want to build my team up. And the trade value of Justin Fields just isn't there compared to what it is for Caleb Williams. It's not even close. So I have to take the multiple draft picks. I have to take the additional roster pieces, such as a Jonathan Allen, such as maybe I get a Cortland Sutton from the Broncos. Maybe I get a Tyler Algier and an AJ Terrell from the Falcons. Maybe I get a Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't know what those options are looking like. But I'm trading this pick. I'm building my team, and I'm giving Justin Fields another year because of the trade value. That's really it. That is really it. I'm excited to see what they do. I want to build the team around the quarterback, give him a winning environment, and then say, hey, we're going to judge you now. All right? If we end up in the same position next year, obviously we're taking a quarterback, which isn't as elite as it is this year, but there's still going to be someone. This opportunity is too good to pass up on. I want to trade that pick. I want to build around Justin Fields, and I want to give him a winning environment back in Chicago. It's been too long. It's been too long. That's my decision. But what would you do if you were the Chicago Bears GM? Are you drafting Caleb Williams or are you traded him? Let me know. Let me know. I'll be in the comments.